Hey, it's Super Duper. So, what's the deal with Superman? Can he vote? I don't know. Let's see. We'll split this up into 3 categories. Can Superman vote? Should he vote? And would he vote? Starting with can Superman vote? The answer seems pretty obvious. I mean, he's an alien, not a person, so he can't vote. That's not really true. The law's definition of a person is very loose, defined to mean any individual person as well as natural and legal entities. Is it a little odd to have the term individual person as a part of the definition of a person? Yeah, probably. Regardless, this definition lets a lot of things pass, specifically corporations. The main case people typically point to is with Citizens United v. FEC. Citizens United says that political spending counts as a form of speech, and corporations have a right to that. Superman is an alien, sure, but a corporation can be considered a person, so why not an alien? Granted, corporations can't vote, so maybe this wouldn't work out so well for Superman. Here's the bigger thing though. Superman did become a US citizen, typically through being adopted by the Kents or them pretending he was their kid. That's the problem though. Either way, the Kents are hiding the fact that Superman came from space and might be, I don't know, a god among people who can shrug off anything we do to him. That's willful misrepresentation, where an alien willfully misrepresented a material fact. Alien? So yeah, Superman is a US citizen, but if the US government realized that Clark Kent was actually an alien, they might have grounds to rebuke his citizenship. So, legally, he could not vote. Except, no one actually knows that Superman is Clark Kent, and that Clark is an alien. I mean, if he looks like a human, walks like a human, and talks like a human, then he's probably a duck. No one would reasonably stop Clark Kent from walking into a polling place and casting a vote. As far as looking human goes, he's not exactly at risk of having his right to vote denied or abridged. So, what's the answer to can he? Probably not, but technically yes. Let's move on to should he. Being able to vote is a bit of a complex thing, especially so considering who should be able to vote. Should Superman be able to vote? The answer feels like a yes. Traditionally, the right to vote has typically been expanded to more people rather than taken away. This means that when presented by an alien, the right to vote is likely to be extended to them, particularly so when you consider what Superman assumes himself to be. Superman considers himself as just a person. Sure, he has powers, but he's still human. Under this standard, Superman does feel like someone who should be able to vote. But again, I question this reality. The right to vote operates under this principle that people need government to promote well-being. So, having a say in that government is a way to advocate for their own needs. Does Superman need such a thing? Sure, public spaces like parks, museums, and schools are amenities that Superman could use, but there are a lot that Superman doesn't need. Health services like hospitals aren't needed when you can shrug off bullets and lift cars. You don't really need police officers or firefighters when you're the one going out there stopping crimes and stopping fires. Roads and public infrastructure aren't as valued when you can leap over buildings in a single bound and move faster than a speeding bullet. So, I ask you, should Superman vote if he has less at stake in an election? Does this actually even matter? What's the verdict this time? Maybe yes, maybe not. Let's move on to the last one. Would Superman vote? Yeah, he probably would. Superman's an all-American boy who cries blue, bleeds red, and is white. Superman cares about the needs of society. He would almost certainly feel very patriotic, and a part of that patriotism is to vote. But he also probably wouldn't. Some of the best Superman stories, like All-Star Superman and Kingdom Come, are all about Superman knowing that he can't do everything for people. All-Star Superman is all about Superman's mortality. If we rely on Superman and one day he disappears, then we're in a pretty bad spot. I guess if Superman was immortal, he could guide us all as some kind of Christ-like figure. But even Jesus died, and even Jesus left people to their own decisions. People need to choose for themselves, vote for themselves. Whether you agree with the statement or not, Superman almost certainly would. Superman does think of himself as human, but he's not. He knows that. Voting takes away from the agency of people, which is not what Superman would do. Would Superman vote? What's the final verdict here? Looking at all three of these categories, we see that Superman maybe, couldn't, probably would, shouldn't, definitively, matter-of-factly, perhaps, might vote. Here's the larger idea. Superman is a fictional character, and that means that he's not going to be wholly consistent. In the real world, you don't exactly see everyone acting as some paragon of consistency. And that same thing applies to law. You can say anything about the law. The Constitution doesn't implicitly have the right to vote, but Reynolds v. Sims says we have a one-person, one-vote doctrine. Both of these points are true, and yet they contradict each other. Law is also not hyper-consistent, despite how much we want it to be. All that means is we have to be a little careful with what we do regarding the law. This is all a huge can of worms that you have to untangle. And for some people, it's probably not worth it. For me, I'm going to give up on law entirely and go back to reading Superman comics. Action Comics number 592. The Sleaze Story. Seems interesting. What's going on here? Wait, what are you doing, Superman? No!